Hello and welcome back to Outside the Box, an MLS podcast. My name's Juanners. Today we are joined by Jeremy Peterman.
Yeah. Video podcast, but podcast still means I have to say hello instead of just wave.
Yeah,
Starting off hot, boys.
and we're also joined by an underperforming winger from the Greek League.
Kansas City's got to have another one, I guess. We got to add another one to the list. We'll talk about it.
Formerly, no, we're here with Joss Bathtub. What's going on, Joss?
Nothing much. Nothing much. It's hot outside, man.
Is that the same for you, Jeremy? Is it also just on fire? Is the as the climate continues to just swirl into the toilet heap death stroke that it is?
I mean, we had two unbearable days last week, but outside of that, it's just been like okay. I think that's probably due to the fact that all the smoke from the wildfires is blowing east instead of west. So we are gifting the rest of the country our smoke. But at least right now in Portland, we don't really have to deal with that. So, I mean, it isn't boiling, but I mean, it's still summer. It's still hot.
Man, however you guys at home are keeping cool, just continue keeping cool because, whether that be, just chilling at home, drinking lots of water, maybe sitting down for some MLS. We had our MLS Saturdays are officially back because, MLS has been back. I mean, we had a Thursday, Friday slate. It was nice to have as the World Cup, concluded. Had the Wednesday games, and, Wednesdays is always tough for your boy. But then come Saturday, dude, there's just something about a nice Saturday slate. Like MLS was just meant to be on Saturday. Like there's something about it in my heart. Like just sitting down for all these games, man. Happy to really be back in a rhythm. How are you guys feeling about the season so far? I'll go to Joss first on just how we're getting back into it.
I feel like it feels rejuvenated. That's the word I'm thinking about. After the World Cup has been going on for the last 6 weeks, the hype that came with that, all of the prep that had been going in for the last 6-8 years, even when the United States was announced as a World Cup, it was one of the World Cup hosts, to putting that on, seeing all of the drama play out, seeing all the red cards get rescinded, to where we're at now, where it's kind of like, okay, we're back in a rhythm. And I'm one who really likes to have structure and rhythm in my life. And when MLS plays on a Wednesday, it's like, what are we doing here? It's throwing off my rhythm. It was fun for the 6 weeks to have World Cup and have games going on pretty much every day. But now I like that we're able to kind of settle in. I can really plan out my week around these games instead of every day I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be watching some footy from 2 to 10 p.m. So I'm liking it. I'm rejuvenated. There's some new players some new faces in the league as well. And it's basically a reset. Form has basically reset because of all the changes that were going on. And we're getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like there's this very potent air of parody. Like this is really one of the first times where I'm looking at the landscape of the league and I'm like, wow, it truly feels open. Like even some of the top teams feel a little bit shaky. I don't know. How are you seeing that, Jeremy? How is your return back to the flow? How has it been for you?
I think the most interesting part of this return, because the season's so clearly split into two different parts, is it gives a lot of the teams that weren't doing so well a second preseason in the middle of the season, work on some new things. They look a lot better. We'll get to those teams, but also it's the teams that looked strong and have kind of stumbled a little bit out of the gate. So I think the parity, and this is something that we're going to look forward to as the calendar switches and we get a break like this in the middle of the season every year. I think this is going to be kind of the norm where there are going to be strong first half teams, strong second half teams. And I wonder how many teams are going to be willing to, I guess, kind of suffer through the first part of the season, however many games that'll be, in the hopes of trying to put all their eggs in the basket to try and sprint towards the end during the second half. So I think it's good for parity, and I like that because I'm, as a salary cap truther, it's more so like let's try and keep as many teams on the same level playing field as possible. I mean, with some exceptions, just based on the quality of DPs that teams can sign. But yeah, this is good. And this is why MLS continues to be just the most entertaining soccer league, because not only is it skewed heavily more towards that attacking play and more goals, but every team in theory enters every year thinking they can win the league, and that is a good thing.
I'm glad you brought up the salary cap stuff. I've been seeing rumors that they're going to plan to raise it. We don't have to get into that discussion quite yet. We can always save it for next week as we start to hear more of the details. But ultimately, like I'm with you. I'm a salary cap guy, but we also need to expand it, and so can only hope for good news on that front. Fellas, we're switching up the show format a little bit. We won't be able to talk about every team. There's definitely some teams in the week that, Saturdays were back, but we had some stinkers in there, some like 1-0, some 0-0s in there as well. I managed to avoid a lot of them. I saw some of the more fun games, but two teams I want to bring to your guys' attention kind of goes to, one of them goes towards Jeremy's larger point of like just a season revitalized. We're going to go to Orlando City because one Antoine Griezmann is now in the league. And, you know, we were kind of laughing like, oh, why is your back line so poor? And you're bringing in, you know, Antoine Griezmann to kind of, you know, do things. But then, now I'm seeing it now. And, you know, Orlando is a team that has kind of like stabilized in such a way I am like shocked to see, you know, because what is it when you concede goals? Just play out of a 4-4-2, bro. 4-4-2. Refigure out, you know, how your midfield's just going to absorb pressure. Robin Jansen officially, like, you know, back to you know, one would hope officially healthy and far from kind of the injury woes that he had to begin. David Bricalo, Adrian Marine doing not too bad at left back. Dorsey, of course, that was a good signing for them. So I think the quality in the back line was always there for Orlando, but then, you know, it was a rough start for them. How are you guys feeling on Orlando coming off a big win at home against Nashville? And before that, they went to San Jose and beat them 4-0, which was, I think it was more San Jose shooting themselves repeatedly in the foot than Orlando. But I'll throw it over to you guys. Any strong Orlando feelings from either of the two of
you? Griezmann is here, and it's been happening. You know, it's been building up for a while. I feel like he's always expressed an interest in not even just like playing in America, but just like American culture itself. And if he wasn't going to be part of this France World Cup team that was going to be playing here in 26, he still found a way to make his way across the pond. And it's kind of intriguing the level that really can be the floor that can be raised when you bring in a player like that. I feel like when the season for like how Orlando's kind of was for a little bit is in a bit of a death spiral. I mean, they sacked Oscar Pereira. They still haven't found a coach. They were still consisting with Martin Perelman, who's been an assistant coach at Orlando, but I don't think he's really ever had a major head coaching job before. So they're consisting with him. And when you bring in a player like Griezmann, who has won basically all there is to win, he's won the World Cup. He's been part of an Atletico Madrid side that was punching well above its weight for so many years. He was at Barcelona for a little bit. I think people kind of try to forget that because he wasn't very good there, but yeah, there he was. So when you have a player like Griezmann, who has for the majority of his career been at these high level clubs with these lofty standards, and then he comes to a club that is in a bit of a death spiral, I think that just his very presence is enough to raise the bar a little bit. I think also that's what Vancouver wanted to do with Thomas Muller last year, where Vancouver had a really well put together team. Orlando, again, have a really, on paper, really well put together team. Vancouver were obviously doing a lot better than Orlando were last year at the same point. But what they did is they went out and they brought a floor raiser. They brought in Thomas Muller, who gave them that little extra oomph that they needed to compete, and they nearly went out and won MLS Cup. So I think that that's really an interesting thing that clubs can do, and maybe if we see a salary cap change, more clubs might have that option. But it's also, I don't know. I mean, I'm stuck on this. I'm constantly saying that MLS is no longer a retirement league. But do you think Griezmann is going to go back to Europe after this? Probably not. Where is the line, I guess, between no longer being a retirement league and going out and making the right signings of these massive players? Because like 5-10 years ago, a team could go and get Griezmann and have nothing to build around him. I think of Kaká at Orlando. Like that's the exact same thing. Perfect example, actually. I'm a genius. So when I think about that, it's just comparing Kaká at Orlando, where he's this big money signing brought in to fill seats and get asses in seats, to now Griezmann is merely a part of a really well constructed team.
Something that for me, I always, when it comes to retirement, like I think there's something about like FIFA that has like plagued people's minds into believing if you're anything older than 30, it's over for you. You can never be productive in a team again. And then time and time again, we see people in the league themselves. Like, I mean, my heart breaks for Maxi Morales because NYC, he was just, a diamond. Lionel Messi, obviously, Diego Chara over at Portland. Like age for me, and I read this based off a Barca book. It's like just the fact that guys are just taking care of their bodies in ways that 10 years ago we would, are just so advanced, like in health and in fitness. And, Griezmann's at 35, but like you would never really feel that, like when you see him out there, because he's still a guy that just puts in the dirty work. Very good to see him very active. And I think Orlando are still some pieces away. I mean, it looks like Marco Pasalic is on the way out. Martin Ojeda is still injured. They just shipped out Duncan McGuire. So they're doing this with like Justin Ellis paired up next to Griezmann in like the weirdest, like bronze rated striker next to future foot hero icon, Griezmann. So, I mean, just to kind of bring back the analogy there, but Jeremy, what are you making of Orlando, and any closing thoughts here as we move on?
Well, I mean, Justin Ellis is the big takeaway because he looks like he's the glue connecting that attack together now. It isn't just Griezmann; it's Ellis too, and they have Daryl DK who should be starting some games for them soon. I'm still not fully bought in on the fact that they are unbelievably better. I think that Maxime Crépeau has simply just came back and kind of been on a heater from the World Cup. I need to see more, but they do have the talent to be like a playoff team. The question was whether or not it would all click, and entering the World Cup, who their new manager was going to be. But it appears they've stuck with Perelman, and let's see. I think there could be a fair number of interim head coaches who end up getting the permanent head job. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not fully convinced, but I will say a win in San Jose and a win at home against Nashville are both pretty legitimate results.
Yeah, especially that Nashville result, because the way, I mean, holding them to, I mean, on the road to San Jose is crazy because it's a big trip, and then Nashville is Nashville, right? They're this dog, and maybe we could I don't think anyone picked Nashville, but they're kind of going through it just without Espinoza, without kind of their big dogs, and they're definitely missing Aspect at this point. But Orlando, very very interesting team to follow out of the break. A less interesting team to follow out the break is LAFC. Stubbornly still a good team. I wanted to talk about them in particular because I think they are kind of going to be, for me, my de facto Western Conference team to beat. Everything in the West is going to have to go through LAFC if you want any decision, any say in the playoffs. You have a kind of a few different dynamics there, but I mean, overall, Human Son scoring goals again, looking like he did right around this time last year. Jenny Buwanga, as Jeremy has always put him, the demigod, just lights out player. How are we feeling about LAFC? Are we still thinking their coaching there is going to be what limits them? Because I did say that they would be an interesting first round exit over the course of 3 games, just due to the fact that one of these games could just be complete haram ball, especially from Mark DeSantos. But is LAFC? Are we ever going to see them falter from here to the end, especially with less fixture congestion? What are your thoughts?
I think with LAFC, the conversation is they're supposed to be doing this. They should always be the favorites in the Western Conference. That's what the club is marketed as. That's the way they go out and acquire players. So I wouldn't say it's good to see them rounding back into form. I mean, they've won 4 straight, even going back to before the World Cup. So I'm more thinking about, is counterattack ball going to be sustainable the closer they get to the playoffs and eventually into the playoffs? Because I think that's what's been really holding them back from being the trophy contending team that they probably should be every single year. But I mean, you can't argue with 3 straight wins by multiple goals and scoring 3 goals in each of them. Second half Sonny, I'm going to coin that phrase now. I think he's just, even if he struggles during the first half of the year, he'll come back. Those goals he wasn't going to struggle for the entirety of the season. I still think it's really funny that he couldn't find a goal before the World Cup, but hey, back now, and this is the business end of the season. Now he's starting to fire. That's good, and that's dangerous. Quick shout out to Jude Terry.
There it is again.
That in, if he continues to get minutes, he'll be one of the first LAFC Academy players to actually break through to the first team and not get shipped off to DC for GAM and I think he'll become a full-time starter for this team by the end of the season. He's very good.
I mean, it did feel like in the beginning of the season, MDS refused to play him, and even Sharundalo towards the end of his tenure also was like, whatever, Jude Terry, IDC, but we care a lot is the thing, especially when the guy's named Jude Terry. Now, Joss, you did SKC did play LAFC over the weekend. You're telling me a little bit about your story watching it there. We can talk. What are your LAFC thoughts overall? And you can segue that into your SKC, because the way we're doing the OTB structure is I'm letting the fellas pick the teams they really want to talk about, and of course the 2 homers here pick their 2 respective teams. But what do you think about LAFC?
Well, I would say that I wouldn't say that LAFC really played SKC. I think that does a disservice to LAFC. SKC didn't really show up. What they did do is they played right into LAFC's hands and let them counterattack the hell out of them. Anecdotally, last weekend was I celebrated my 2-year anniversary with my girlfriend. Sorry, all ladies listening to this, I'm taken. So I was celebrating the men. Sorry to them too. But I was listening to, it was Saturday night. We had been just hanging, had a busy day. We wanted to chill at the hotel room. I said, babe, let's put on some wiki ball. Okay. And then I proceeded to watch us concede 3 identical goals, and I didn't even watch the second half. That was a joke. So anecdotally, I did not watch much of the second half of that game, but what I did see in that first half was an LAFC team that I think needed a get right. Not a get right game. Not an LAFC team that needed a get right game. A Son Heung-min that needed a get right game. Because it wasn't only like he wasn't scoring in the league. He also went to the World Cup and started for a South Korea team that didn't make it out of a very easy group, I should say. A South Korea team that probably should have come at least second based on the strength of squad. And Son started, I think, all the games.
Bench for the last one.
Didn't score.
Which is tough.
That is tough. It's like get the Celtic Shack video updated and put LAFC Son for that first half of the season, because that's how he was playing. So Son needed a get right game, and this kind of provided the perfect opportunity for it. He was looking like he did for the back end of last season when him and Bouanga. I mean, remember it was like them and then Hani and Surridge. It's like who the best duos in the league are. Well, Hani and Surridge have continued on with their great form. Son kind of fell off a cliff. I mean, certain members in this video chat were saying that he would win the Golden Boot. It was me. So, my fault.
Hey, now it's time.
My bad. But now it's his time. So, for LAFC, this is a perfect chance for them. It was a perfect chance to get their guys that need to be firing as we head into the business end of the season, to get them firing again. And boy, did they. Did I watch it? And I did. I would want to see, like, if I were to watch LAFC from a more objective standpoint, I would want to see them play a team that also wants to counter them, that also tries to counter most of the time, doesn't try to play possession against this team, and really goes really plays in a way that is counterintuitive to LAFC's main playing style, which is to let you have the ball and then counter you to death with players like Martinez, Son, and Bouanga. So I think that as the players for LAFC like Son and Bouanga get more into form, get back into their second half of the season form, I want to see how they do against teams that are more inclined to also try and counterattack, and see how that does. See how good they are at creating chances, because it could go like, hey, the quality is there and it's amazing, or it could go much like Mexico did against England in the World Cup, where once it was clear they'd run out of ideas, they just launched balls into the box and England easily dealt with them.
You just had to remind me of that, man.
It was a perfect encapsulation, bro. I mean, what was the plan there? It was to let the left back, who wasn't even that good, put in balls that weren't even that good, like the Dan Burn masterclass. And
the actual left back that could ping him in, Mateo Chavez, was just sitting on the bench. But
twiddling.
That's gonna be my unk talk, like telling all the kids, like, that's just gonna be the one thing I point to all the time. Yeah, I was watching that. Why didn't they put my guy in? But you brought up SKC as your team here to go through. I'm sure it's not anything to do with the game.
It is not.
I'm sure you're feeling quite excited for what's to come through the SKC lens. So walk us through, man. Why Peter Maluk is he coming through? Here comes the money.
Here comes the money. So the recent development. I don't know if you guys are the type to check player followers on Instagram, but Andre Luiz has been following Dejan Joveljic. He followed Berg Janssen.
Who?
Oh, an underperforming Greek winger. Sorry,
that's where
he's
it comes from.
Yes. We've been doing a lot of shopping in the Greek league as of recent. So Manu Garcia obviously came from there. Shoppy was thrown in there as a, hey, we don't want him either. And now we're going back for Andre Luiz at Olympiacos. Really, the nature of that deal was you can have Manu, but you have to take this guy. Legitimately.
No, I love it. I love it because I love Shopee too. Is the thing.
It's bargain hunting, I guess, bro. So there's been a lot of discourse, specifically from a certain team in Missouri, about why are they signing this guy 22 million for 0 goals, 0 assists for Olympiacos. On paper, yeah, that is major. And as a guy who made fun of them for their signing from the Turkish league, I'm still writing that because, first of all, not my money. Okay. I don't care how much Peter Maluk spends. It's not my money. Secondly, we got this beautiful DP structure here where only 800K counts against the salary cap for a DP player. So
like 843,
not my money. Okay. So, with all that being said, it's a showing of ambition that we haven't seen in a little bit. And it can go one of two ways. It can go either, hey, SKC have this newfound wealth. They don't know what they're doing with it. They're throwing it around, or we can try and be smart with it. And granted, I'm not going to claim to have watched Andre Luiz. Okay. But I did watch a highlight clip. Okay. And when he was at Rio Ave, he actually looked pretty decent. He's 6'1" as a winger, which is insane. I feel like, especially I think it provides a really good out ball for us at SKC, because he'd be going up against wing backs who are usually shorter than the center back counterparts. So that's number one. Two, I think the best comparison I've seen of him is he reminds me a lot of Ryan at Bournemouth. Also a Brazilian winger, 19 years old, but left-footed, stocky, fast. That's what I'm seeing with Luiz a little bit. Granted, I'm not seeing that in all games because I'm not going to claim to watch Olympiacos. But what I have seen from his highlights is that he's quick on the ball, he's physical, and he's left-footed. I think so. I think that all fits the profile of a player that could do some damage for us. He's also only 24, and if the plan is to build for the future, then I think he's the guy that could get some excitement going, but not as much excitement, clearly, as Mo Salah would give us. Now, I'm really unsure where we're at with this Mo Salah thing. For a while there, it looked like Besiktas were getting him. It looked like the Saudi League might be in for him. MLS looked to be third. But recent developments, bro. Recently, I don't know, there was a Sports Illustrated or an SI article that came out today, I think, that was Besiktas are saying, nah, we don't we've given him our final offer. He's rejected us. We'll see how that plays out. It could all just be mind games. I don't know. The Saudi Pro League is not super in frame yet. Salah could just be holding out for them, but he's negotiating with an MLS club. And the reporting from Tom Bogert is that if it's any MLS club, it'll be the one who plays in front of a Nebraska Furniture Mart that is leading the charge for that. So I don't know.
Man.
I don't know. You can think about it one of two ways, and I'd be curious to get your thoughts. Andre Luiz, 18 mil, 24-year-old, pretty unproven, coming off of a poor season, but clearly one for the future. Or Mohamed Salah. He's got maybe at most 3 years left. I think is he 34? I think he's 34. He's got at most 3 years left, but I don't know. Maybe we got a couple more. And commercially, that's huge, right? Commercially, bringing in Salah to Kansas City, that's huge. It could have a similar effect that Messi has at Inter Miami, where, hey, you want to come play with Salah, that's your chance. So I don't know if you're David Lee, if you're Raphael Wicki, if you're Peter Maluk, where are you spending the money at? Let's assume similar figures.
Jeremy, what if we were running this as hypothetical Montreal and we had these two profiles at our desk, which where are you leaning?
I mean, if Mo Salah's available, you go get Mo Salah, right? But I think that their pursuit of Andre Luiz is saying, I don't think Salah's that gettable. So even if we're going to miss out on probably the bigger player, we're still going to go big, and we're going to spend north of 20 million on an underperforming winger from the Greek league. Is that going to work? I have doubts. Just because of the price tag. There has been a thing in recent years with players that specifically come in and they cost $20 million or more, how they're kind of doo-doo. And Cincinnati, congratulations to them for not allowing Kevin Danke to hit that number. I think they got him for 16 or 17, and he's been good. But you look at Josh Sargent, you look at Emmanuel Latte Lath. Son's the exception because he does fall into the superstar mold. But when you're looking at these non-superstars that are suddenly fetching $20 million or more in the transfer market, it speaks to, is this really a $20 million player? Now, Joss is right. It's not his money. It's not my money. It's not your money, Juanners. It's Peter Maluk's money. He likes to get on Twitter and say promises made, promises kept. So if this is going to be a promise made that they are going to get a game-changing winger in this summer window, which I do believe that they need. I like Calvin Harris. I like Stephen Afrifa, but I think this is a winger league, and you should use your DP spots on wingers because some of them are just absolutely nasty, and you can't get that on anything less than the DP deal. The price tag scares me for Andre Luiz, but as Joss was saying with his profile, that's a really intriguing profile. And just the profile alone could be worth $20 million or more. Not Latte Lath, who I'm very famously on record saying, what the hell were Atlanta doing back when they made that transfer? Because all he's going to do is run in behind, and he's not going to offer literally anything else. But I can see how $20 million for Andre Luiz could pay off if he does land in the right situation. And SKC could be that situation, guys. So, yeah, scary price tag, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm officially intrigued. Promises are about to be kept. They've been made. They're about to be kept.
It was interesting, Jeremy, that the 20 million signings that you mentioned were like Sargent, Latte Lath, both strikers, but then you talk about like Son Heung-min, for example, who I guess, he is kind of a striker, but he's also primarily a left winger. He has been for most of his career. So it could just be like, you don't need to go out and get like a striker per se, because some of the best strikers in recent memory are guys like Joveljic, guys like Petar Musa,
Brian
Sam
White,
Surridge, Brian White, like these
Preston
guys
Judd.
that like can pretty much, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but like kind of a little bit, like don't come in with as much fanfare. There's not as much hype around them, but they actually end up doing well. Even if you go further back, Daryl DK, Duncan McGuire, like that. So maybe it's just the striker position is a cursed position for that money. But I had another thought about the wingers, and then we can move on. Unless you want to give your thoughts, Juan.
On SKC? No, go ahead.
I think that I had two thoughts. So firstly, Andre Luiz signing, if let's say it's Andre Luiz, we're clearly targeting the right-hand side. If it's Luiz, if it's Salah, both primarily right wingers who cut in onto their left foot. I think that what that does is it moves Capita to his preferred left winger position, and it probably relegates Calvin Harris to the bench. So I think that that's interesting. It sounds like we're looking to kind of rehash old SKC vermies where Johnny Russell and Daniel Shalhoub were cutting in under their preferred foot and curling in goals. Speaking of Johnny Russell, if you look at his stats before he joined SKC, not great either. So foot mob stats can be misleading. Finally, what I wanted to say is my main gripe with it is that it doesn't feel like we need to be spending big on our wingers. I wouldn't have targeted our wingers as being the problem areas for this team. Granted, I'm not a data analysis guy. I'm not a guy that goes in and I look at the data and I think, okay, if we had better wingers, we'd be able to do more with that. But like a DP6, a DP center back, something like where you can see that there's clear problems that need to be fixed. Maybe not DP center back, but specifically a DP6, someone in the mold of Kubas at Vancouver, who's just, he elevates the game, because I don't think we have a real six in the squad whatsoever, or even a striker, because if Joveljic goes down, oh shit, we're looking real bad. So I wouldn't have targeted wingers as the place to be. I think Capita is coming into his own little by little. I think that Calvin Harris is giving us at minimum what we'd expect someone like Calvin Harris to be giving us as a free agent winger, So those are my thoughts. But as I chatted with Daniel Sperry for the Star, he said playoff teams don't play don't start free agent wingers. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So
Unless they're Nashville.
Unless they're Nashville. But that's a whole that you have a perfect system there.
Let's stay within the confines. Oh yeah, well.
Yeah.
Let's stay within the confines of the Derby queue, because my team that I brought up is St. Louis City. Yohan DeMay is finally cooking, I want to say. Finally figuring out some. I mean, all you had to do was get rid of Sergio Cordova, have him nowhere near the 11. But beyond that, like, you have a very productive and back into it Edward Lewin. Very happy to see him kind of finding some form. Now, of course, St. Louis City did beat the Rapids over the week, so I'm less so. I was always going to pick St. Louis less because of that match. I mean, they had a red card that they benefited from and couldn't really break down the Rapids. And this is kind of my thing with St. Louis is, like, they play well. They pass the ball around really well in a 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it. But they just lack that attacking caliber. Like, maybe they should be the ones going in on God, what's his name? I'm already blanking on the who's the winger? Josh? Andre Luis, yes. Because for Andre Luis, I mean, they went and got Carlos Hosla from the Turkish league, but I can't help but feel like he's not like a finisher. He's like another hardtail. And then they go out and get Alexandru Matan, another guy that's kind of a facilitator within the half spaces. I'm like, guys, you need a striker. Like Simon Betcher is continually making the right plays, but he's not consistently putting the ball in the back of the net. But beyond that, I mean, St. Louis City are kind of annoying because this kind of feels like when they first came through as this like the Cardinal ball hard pressing style in their first year. It was like, all right, you guys are annoying. Like, this is you're pressing. Yeah, just give me a bunch of German Bundesliga 2. Give me a bunch of Bundesliga 2 players, and we'll rock MLS. But now it feels like no, Yohan DeMay coming from the coaching tree of a one Wilfred Nancy, right? That's where he stems from, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Him and Laurent Courtois doing some carrying on Nancy's, and we'll get into my Eastern Conference team later. But for now, Yohan DeMay figuring it out. I like how St. Louis play. I can't help but feel, though, that still, like, you give me the Rapids again versus them at home, because St. Louis beat the Rapids in Colorado, and they're gonna play one final time this season in the Open Cup, in the semifinal, the quarterfinals of the semifinal of the U.S. Open Cup. So. That one's a must-win for the Rapids, but that's a game where I can easily see St. Louis lose just because they don't have the quality. Like, they have the structure in place, the model in place, but I just can't help but feel like they're still that 1-2 maybe pieces away. Maybe it is Hosla, maybe it is Matan, but I'll throw it over to you guys. Are either of you seeing St. Louis City on the table and being a little bit like scared? I mean, Joss is always gonna have that rivalry.
I ain't never scared.
Exactly, but Jeremy, what are you making of St. Louis here?
The results have been good, and then you look at the teams they've been playing. They literally needed a gift, a self-admitted gift by PRO to get over the line in that Kansas City game. I'm sure Joss will say more about that. That's his domain, but I mean, I have to acknowledge it. It's the second straight year that they've just beat the Galaxy in LA, and last year they did. Melberg was the head coach, and the Galaxy are very clearly like, something's up with them, because something's always been up with them since they sold their soul to win the cup 2 years ago. And then this last game, this past weekend, it was against Colorado, and Colorado had the red card. So, I mean, but Colorado's getting pretty used to playing with red cards, aren't they, Juanners? So, I'm not really convinced in the whole, like, they're like these are good results, but like who have they played in this 4-game winning streak? Keep in mind, it started literally the last game before the World Cup when they beat interim head coach Austin. So, I mean, I see why they're good. I do. I am more of a believer in Carl Holes than Juan might be, but I just think that this weekend they play RSL, then they don't play in Leagues Cup, so that's another layoff for them. But then they come back and they immediately have San Jose on the road, and they have SKC on the road, and then they have to go to Houston. And Houston's looked a little bit better since the end of the break. I can see that the data says that St. Louis is playing good ball because the system that they play in always spits out good numbers. And I'm trying to figure out how much of this is due to the system and what Yoann Damet has installed versus just the strength of their players. And I'm thinking that this is more of a system team like they were when they first entered the league with Carnell and all the pressing. But, I mean, 4 straight wins, you got to be happy about that.
Any thoughts there, Josh? Should we let Jeremy take it over with Portland?
No thoughts really. Yeah, PRO is corrupt, dude. All right, we remember the bit that I said earlier about who they had to call to give a penalty against in Chicago. I won't repeat it, but we know who I'm talking about. So yeah, no, take it away.
Yeah, tell us about Portland Timbers because I was gonna segue into because I mean even a Felipe Mora on the St. Louis City team would be way better than Simon Betcher right now.
Oh yeah.
But tell us about Felipe Mora and tell us about the Portland Timbers this past week.
Let's start with the facts. Which team in the league has the best expected goal differential since the resumption of the season? That would be your Portland Timbers. They ended the MLS Apertura before the World Cup. They ended that with the 3rd worst expected goal differential, ahead of only Austin and Kansas City, 2 powerhouses of being bad. So that's one way to measure this improvement. The other one is in the points. 7 points from the first 9 available after the break, all against playoff teams. Pretty good. Felipe Mora said goodbye this past weekend. I wasn't really that sad about it, but at the same time, I was still like, oh, damn. This is a new era of the league. Like, I saw Diego Valeri stick around here for nearly a decade. Diego Chara is still here. He's been here for 16 years. That's nuts. A lot of, like, these, quote, legendary players and iconic players that have populated the Portland Timbers since they came into MLS. I just don't think it's the kind of league anymore where you're going to get some of those legends who stick around for a very long time, particularly if they come in when they're in their prime or just a couple years away from their prime. And poor Felipe Mora, because his prime was absolutely just racked by injuries. After scoring the most iconic goal of the decade for the Timbers, and not their most iconic because, I mean, they didn't win the trophy, guys. But after scoring the most iconic goal of this decade for the Timbers, Felipe Mora was hurt for the next 2 years. We barely saw him. He had to undergo 2 surgeries for the same knee problem. And just the fact that he made it back into onto the team and became a double-digit goal scorer again in 2024, that was like enough for the mini redemption arc. And then the past couple of years have been a little bit more tough for him because they keep trying to recruit over him. Jonathan Rodriguez was supposed to be a striker that started over Felipe Mora. Didn't happen like that. So at the same time, they've kind of had like a weird policy of like, he's good but not good enough. We have to get another striker in who's probably going to start over him, and he just keeps holding on to that striker job until this year when Kevin Kelsey said, "This is my team. I'm going to be the guy." Yeah. And Felipe Mora still wants to be the guy somewhere. He goes to Atletico de San Luis, following the footsteps of former Timber Frank Boley, going straight to Atletico San Luis from Portland. And I mean, that's admirable. Everyone should be rooting for Felipe Mora. 10 out of 10 human being. Just excellent soccer player. I refer to him as a genius because, contrary to what David Goss says, and this has been something like, I like you, David Goss, but there are some things that you say that make my blood boil. He says Felipe Mora is just a fox in the box poacher. He is not. He does so many things. He just doesn't need to touch the ball all the time. He's not going to beat you on the dribble, but his vision as a striker, just the way he sees the field, is genius level. So I'm going to miss him. Everyone in Portland's going to miss him. The Portland Timbers, though, they're probably not going to miss him because, well, at least on the field, because in comes Vincent Janssen. I didn't see this coming. I did see the fact they were going to get a striker in immediately after letting Mora go. I didn't think it was going to be Vincent Janssen. That's a pretty good deal, guys. So now we shall see, because the Timbers have to play Leagues Cup. They get all three of those Leagues Cup at home games this year at home, thank God. And, yeah, now they just have to play Seattle again this weekend. They're going to beat Seattle, guys. It's going to happen again. So, yeah.
That one's must see.
Yeah, the vibe shift between just the doom and gloom of the Apertura to all it took were 3 games. It literally took 3 games.
And someone no longer being the coach.
I didn't say it. Destroying your biggest rivals in their stadium, booing the hell out of the player that committed a mutiny last year when he came back into town, and then getting revenge against the team that served you probably the worst loss the Timbers had this year back in May, and saying goodbye to a club legend. Those are 3 humongous vibe boosts by themselves. They've all come in 3 straight games. So, yeah, things are going pretty well here.
Joss, any Portland questions or takes?
Is Cifuentes, is he in the building yet?
No,
not yet.
No.
How do you feel about that? Because that was going to be one of my questions. It's like, well, now like Jack Cassidy is like clearly keeping the vibes high. Like, like, is this going to be a Cameron Knowles situation where right before the head coach of the team that we were looking at, because Cameron Knowles started off 3 games winning, or 3 games unbeaten, kind of not nearly as much as the vibes, but if Marty Cifuentes and Jeremy, you told us on the last pod that, this is the Cifuentes model, but if Mora had scored a hat trick, I would have been like, no, Jack Cassidy is the head coach now. Like, like this dude just unlocked all the vibes in like 2 weeks for Portland. But does that concern you at all? Is the integration of a Marty Cifuentes?
Not really. The reason why is because, like, Cassidy has done a lot of good things, but so many of the good things are just like, yes, this has been stuff we've been looking for the past 2 years. Just getting the basics correct. And I think he's also been able to inherit like the post Neville bump of the fact that Neville is just not here anymore. And he took the structure, made it something to get the best out of all the players. It's going to be something Cifuentes is going to do. I really think he's just the beneficiary of, hey, this guy's not here anymore. Let's go have some fun again.
Love it. Let's see here. We're from Portland. I want to move on to Jeremy's other team, his Eastern Conference team here, Chicago Fire. I remember right around this time last year, guys, we were really bullish on Chicago. At least I know I was from last season to this. I think there's a little bit of an alarm bell going on right now when it comes to Chicago. But Jeremy, walk us through why did you pick Chicago here as your team?
I put Chicago here so I could have a take quake. We are going to look back on this summer window for the Chicago Fire and legitimately wonder what they did and why they did it like this. You have to get Robert Lewandowski in. I get it. You did not have to sell Hugo Kuipers. You really didn't. And that was the decision they had within their control. That could have been survivable by itself. Now you have Embo Kazi on the sideline for an extended period of time. That's not very good. I believe that Chicago kind of blew it up when they really didn't need to. Like, was it really worth it that you had to get rid of the Golden Boot leader? You really had to do that? No, you didn't. No, you did not. And they're still thirsting for a number 10.
Yeah.
So there really needs to be another big signing that Chicago has to do now. They went from, okay, we have the Golden Boot leader. We need to put a number 10 behind him. That's our big signing of the summer. Now they have to make two big signings, and their best center back is hurt. So I love the Chicago Fire. I want to be able to root for them. But I can already see that this is kind of becoming a trademark Chicago Fire choke. And I don't want it to be, but that's what my brain is telling me. And that's what my mouth is saying. So, yeah, we'll see how the rest of their season goes. But they were clearly one of the top 4 teams in the East before the World Cup break. Now they could fall into the wild card.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think that's a stretch to say, especially just given how they've played as well. I mean, Zinkernagel looks like nothing like Zinkernagel out there. Robin Laud just kind of a black hole as a 10. Now, I do want to bring up though is there is a bit of a reinforcement coming in the name of Andre Franco, who has officially started rehab. He has been out since September. Big blow for them. But I think that's a lot to kind of hope on a guy to come back from his tear and be as much of an impact as as they really want him to. I'm hesitant because I think it's time to sell Chicago stock. This is probably even before Leva was was coming. It was like when he was rumored, it was like, well, how are they going to figure out with Kuipers and Lewa? Like, is that going to be a thing? They're like, nope, just kidding. We're just going to go with Lewa. And I was like, okay, cool. We can go with Lewa. But now, if Lewa goes down, your next depth option is Jason Shakaluk. You know what I mean? And
next pro sniper, though. Jason
I love Shakaluk. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him get some minutes, but he's not seasoned. You know what I mean? They haven't even bothered to bring him on to relieve Kuipers, because why would you, right? It's Hugo Kuipers. He's a 90-minute player, but I think you're gonna have to see a little bit more Jason Shakaluk, especially coming in as as Lewa kind of comes out maybe around the 60th, 75th minute. But Josh, how are you feeling on Chicago? Are you a very Midwest episode? This one, getting the future division alignment with these 3 teams. We're going to see each other a lot in the future. But Josh, I need Chicago thoughts.
Midwestern decade of dominance. It's here, guys. Get in line. All right, it's already started. So my thoughts on Chicago really extend to the fact that to the idea that I just hate when clubs try to I think they try to get too smart with it. I really do think they try to get too smart with it. And it's moves like bringing in Lewa and selling Kuipers that really hinder my argument that we're not a retirement league, because that is retirement league shit, man. It just is. Lewa might be good. He might pan out, but he's going to have to get used to a new nation, a new league, and I mean he's the kind of guy that you build your play around. I would get it if they brought him in the off season or something. If they brought him in with the chance to really build around him and establish partnerships and stuff. I get that his profile is similar to Kuipers. So I don't think the move is a complete what are they doing here? but it's still partially a what are they doing here? Because if it ain't broke, another Midwesternism. I know that's everywhere, but if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. I think that the money that they're spending on Lewa's wages would have been better spent at other areas, especially now that Mbakazi, right? That's the center back.
Yep.
Now that he's gone down, it's like, okay, what? I feel like the amount of quality that he has, it's going to be hard to replace with whoever Chicago's backups even are. It's not Waterman because he starts, but is it Waterman?
No, it's Waterman. It is.
It is.
He scored, but not as.
It's just going to be hard to replace. It's going to be hard to really manage to do that. And so looking at Kuipers, I'm really excited to see how he does out in Monterey. I also wouldn't be that surprised if he pulls a Vasquez and is back within 18 months. I'm just saying that too. I think there's going to be a lot of interest for him from clubs around the league. I'm really if I know we talked about St. Louis already, Kuipers was right there, brother.
I think they were in for him, and then
I think they should have thrown whatever at him, bro.
Well, I think it might have been a thing where Chicago weren't going to sell to them. They're going to offload him to another league.
Oh, okay.
Which is smart business. You don't want to see talent go. I mean, it is cross conference, but
Well, I know MLS mostly they control the contracts, don't they? The league actually owns the contracts. Is that right? I didn't even know that teams could say, "Hey, we prefer if you didn't." What I didn't know that Chicago had that kind of power, or that teams could have that kind of power to say, "Hey, don't sell them within the league." I didn't know that was a thing. I was just curious.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a thing where if you come to the table with an offer and I don't show up,
okay, yeah,
you know what I mean. If I just leave you on red and
yeah, that's fair.
Hint a little bit hey, don't show up, bro. Don't come through.
It's not gonna go the way you want it to, bro.
Definitely not. But that's Chicago. Let's move on. Let's talk about the New England Revolution. You have them picked here, Joss, as your team. Are you they just signed Jack Harrison back in the league after leaving from New York City and then going to Leeds and putting MLS a little bit on the map in his own way. But New England Revolution vibes are high. Why the Revs? What are you seeing in the Revs?
I didn't realize how high the vibes really were, and I wish Daniel were here because I wish we just had the clip of him saying that they need to sack Mitrovic ASAP, bro. I wish that we could just. They're now third in the East, and I don't think I even realized how high their vibes were. I knew Matt Turner was having a really good season, but I hadn't done my check-in on the Revs. I was assuming by really good, just because he's having a really good season, they're pulling out narrow 1-0s or they're having 0-0s where they're getting dominated. But it's just not the case. And we see it in this game against Atlanta where they smash them 4-1. They were 4-0 up in the 66th minute. And by that point, it was pretty much just cruise control for the rest of the time. So I've been really fascinated by the role that Peyton Miller has shaped for himself on the right side of that attack. If I remember correctly, under Porter, he was more of a right wing back. He's now further up the field for Mitrovic, playing as a right winger, a right attacking mid, however you want to say it. But he's able to really use his speed and athleticism to get into right places. And I'm not going to sum up the game or anything, but on his goal, what he scored in this game, you see the ball in from, I believe I don't think it was Will Sands. It was Yusuf, I think. The ball in from him is perfectly dropped at that back post, and really it's only in the spot where if Miller is on his bike and he's going and he's anticipating it, he could get there. But you have to have such a high level of game intelligence to be able to be even making that run, to even have, hey, this ball might end up here, and that's exactly what he does, and he scores from it. So I actually was really impressed by the role that he's come up with for that Mitrovic has come up for him, actually, and the way that he's been able to really embrace it. And Jeremy, I was showing Juan this before, but I actually made a presentation because I wanted to talk about Carlos Hill a little bit, and I wanted to present this to you. So if I may,
you hopped on PowerPoint?
I hopped on Google Slides, actually.
Same thing nowadays.
Same thing. But please, if you wouldn't mind, I actually need to exit out of this presentation. I need to get it set up. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Sorry for all the audio listeners, but here's what we got. So what you're looking at here. Oh, can you see it? No, I think it has to be brought in. Yes. So what we're looking at here is Carlos Hill's heat map from the 2023 season. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Keep in mind what it looks like. I mean, Hill has been very good for a long time in this league. But I wanted to take a look at his heat map here. So here's his first heat map, and then sorry with this transition. So this is his heat map from the 2024 season. You can see he's kind of everywhere all over the pitch, especially if you're looking on the right hand side of the pitch. They're attacking that way. You can see he's getting a lot of his involvements. It's still very shaded in this red area here, but it's still very much all over the pitch. So, sorry. Yeah. And this is from last season, where you can see that it's starting to center a lot more on that right-hand side a little bit. And I think that obviously Mitrovic, he came in last season, I believe. And I think he really shifted Hill's role to be focused more on this right-hand side. And now if we get to his 2026 season, sorry.
Oh, my God, bro.
Look at how centered he is on the right-hand side of the pitch there. And I think that it's a really, really good job from Mitrovic to have Hill in as he's getting up there in age, get him. He doesn't need to be nearly as involved. He just needs to be able to pick his moments a little bit. And so you'll see on this right-hand side, that's where he's doing much of his damage. He scored from this area last weekend, obviously a really good goal, but he's not even taking like corners from the other side. It's all focused on this right-hand side here. And I think that Mitrovic has really just made Hill's role a lot more reserved than it used to be. But for the benefit of the Revolution and for Hill himself. As he gets up there in age, he's not nearly as able to get around the pitch as much, but he doesn't need to be doing so. He has always just been a player where if you can get him in the right positions, he will punish the opponents. And I think he's doing that again this season. I believe he's on 6 goals for the season in only 16 games. So 6 goals and 3 assists. He's been the Revs' best player. He's only 33 years old, so he's not even like up there in age, but just a guy who has been doing it for such a long time. And I was really fascinated by how his role has shifted from being all over the pitch, a chance creator. He's the guy that you turn to. And if you can mark him out of a game, you'll probably win it if you're placing the Revolution to now. The Revolution have a lot more young talent that have come through, guys like Peyton Miller. They've got Brooklyn Reigns, who scored his first goal for the Revs this weekend. Yusuf, who I thought he was fantastic. He got 2 assists this last game. Turgeman, who he's doing a lot of the finishing that the Revolution needs. He's finishing off these chances that they're making. And obviously Peyton Miller, who's got 4 goals this season. They're doing a lot of the work. They're getting in the spaces. They're delivering. And then Hill is able to just do what he does best and play more reserved, but punish other teams whenever the moment presents itself.
Yeah, it says a lot when a guy like Ethan Kohler can just come in and earn a spot over Brian Ceballos, who, Jeremy was very high on him, and Mamadou Fofana as like coming into last season. Just, we sung their praises of like, yeah, these two are, pillars to build around your defense. Well, now it's Ethan Kohler coming in, stepping in, Ceballos off to Montreal. Beyond that, though, like Will Sands also being the player that he is, like, because they're missing Eli Feingold, and
yep.
Sorry, they're not missing Eli Feingold. Like they're doing that without him. And last season I said New England had a pair of the most exciting fullbacks, attacking wingbacks in the league, and Miller and Feingold. And now it's like, well, no, Will Sands is actually a very tidy left back player, allows them to do their thing. Now it's Matt Polster at right back, so
just some bullshit, dude. At this point,
Jeremy, what are you seeing out of the Revs, man? Are you as because we have to? I mean, their home form is awesome. They're kind of occupying a little bit of a Charlotte role here. I want to see it more on the road, especially as they are on the road this week. So it'll be interesting to see if they can carry that on, but. Jeremy, what are you seeing out of the Revs, and do you share kind of the same excitement here?
I only have this home away split to show you guys because it is fascinating. Now, New England, because no schedule is created equal, they have played 4 more home games than road games this year. They've played 10 at home. They've played 6 on the road. In those 10 home games, they are 8-1-1 with a plus 13 goal differential and 25 points earned. They have earned 29 points in total, folks. Because on the road, they have played 6 games. They've gone 1-1-4 for a total of 4 points and a -6 goal differential. They play 7 of the next 10 away from home. They do not play in Leagues Cup. So every single one of these games are league games, and none of them are going to be Leagues Cup games, including a resumption of the postponed match they had against Houston earlier this year. So what does that mean? It means that in order for the Revs to be seen as a legit contender, they have to have a good stretch here on the road. They have to show they can be competitive on the road, which is something they haven't done this year. It's very Charlotte of them, as you mentioned, Juanners. They are, to coin a phrase, Charlotte maxing. But that's okay, because this is what this league is built off of. If you are otherworldly good at home, like New England has been this year, you're going to make the playoffs. You're probably not going to contend if you can't match that with some sort of competence on the road. So we're going to see just how competent the Revs are in this next month or so, when they do not have the friendly confines and the raucous atmosphere of Gillette Stadium to fall back on.
Boston Stadium, you mean?
Oh yeah, Boston Stadium. That stadium, by the way, they got the rowing and they got the Scots. Like, Boston doesn't deserve that shit. Are you kidding? Oh my God. But yeah, keep an eye on them, because this might be their high water mark. I don't really want it to be, but I mean, it's looking like it might be, unless they can find a way to win games on the road.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you bring it up, because I think I agree. Like, now you got to prove it on the road. But there's another team I can think of that had a stretch of home games and that didn't do shit with them. I'm looking at Toronto FC, who, could have very easily been in this Revs situation, right? Like, and of course, Toronto have had a lot of injuries, but they've also had a lot of winnable games in that stretch of the home game stand. And so, like, for me, I'm out on Toronto. I think last week I said I'm out on Robin Fraser as a whole. So, like, I think the boat has sailed on Toronto this season, and not to go too much into Toronto, but I really think it's now, like, New England were the team that we're gonna take over from this, from this rebuild after Porter left, right? Because we were all thinking, how dare you fire Porter before he even got his third year championship. But Mitrovic is like, no, don't worry, I got that Porter bump here, that Porter championship bump. Don't you worry. But these road games are going to say a lot, because, in those road games, it was like Griffin Yao, Langoni, and, like, we haven't even seen Langoni really. Those are the two outlet guys, But now you're going into a stretch where, like, Peyton Miller is more established on the right wing. Jack Harrison's coming in, can hopefully get some minutes there, and so it's a bit better of a dynamic for New England overall. So now go out there and play the games, right? Like, that's always when it's the most fun in Major League Soccer, where, like, the team is there. The team just now needs to play. But fellas, one team wanted to end on here as our final team is Columbus Crew. Are the Columbus Crew back, fellas? Because they sure seem to be. They're getting out of this 4-4-2 relationism nonsense that Henrik Rudstrom had brought, and now they're back to a little bit of Nancy ball with a 3-4-2-1, very similar to St. Louis. Also, same model, and it's the same thing that Jeremy said. Like, these are the types of possession teams that, like, just jump out in the advanced stats, right? Make it look really nice. But ultimately, Columbus are the Eastern Conference version of the St. Louis City. The model's there. The talent is sus still. Like I can't make out whether or not this team is going to be someone to fear in the East, or if they're just, benefiting from the rest and the system play. Bryce Mendez still to join, Eric Bailly, a little bit of a weird move there. Beyond that, Shambo in midfield, Bangura, Andre Gomes. Like it's a very weird squad build because like across, Bryce Mendez, Eric Bailly, and Andre Gomes. This is a FIFA standard pack, bro. This is like 7,500 coins. And you pack guys.
In FIFA 19, though, not in 26.
Exactly. Like this
also,
is
no Rossi. No more Rossi.
No Rossi. Rossi's gone. And I think I would have probably have been a bit more bullish on them if he had stuck around. But I also see that are they in the move for somebody? Like, did I miss? Because I also know they got Lautaro Giacone from Argentina. Big unknown there, but I would love to imagine he could come in and just be a guy. Taha Habrun.
Why would they need to get anybody when they got Brooks Lennon?
Or Daniel Gazdag, right?
Yeah.
Who continues to get the Penzdag treatment. But I'll throw it over to you fellas. Like am I of all the Eastern Conference teams, I think they're just the most interesting right now to like take a look over, like, cheat off their homework a little bit.
Jeremy?
I mean, I'm not really as impressed as Juanners might be. I mean, I go off the results. I go off of what do you do and whether or not you get your wins that you're supposed to, and that's what it is. Why the hell did they lose at home to NYCFC? If they beat NYCFC in that game and they beat Cincinnati on the weekend in the derby, featuring the worst mic'd up segment I've ever seen. Okay, I have to go on a brief tangent really quickly.
Yes, no.
You're going to do the mic'd up segment, but you're not going to do it for St. Louis and Kansas City. Like the two teams where you can easily find just randos in the crowd who are just going to hate each other. Like Columbus versus Cincinnati is a thing that really only they hate each other in soccer. It doesn't really work in any other sport. Portland, Seattle, they hate each other in everything because they had a history with the NBA. St. Louis and Kansas City have been hating each other for so long. Like you're gonna give me the Ohio fan cam, really? People who are afraid to swear on it.
The middle voter.
Yeah, I should be hearing constant F-bombs throughout this. I'd just be hearing beep, 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 beep. Like there are more beeps than actual words that you can hear. It's a rivalry game between Columbus and Cincinnati. It's supposed to be really, really, really intense, guys. God. Okay. Tangent over. Back to Columbus.
El Trafico too, I think. Like that would have been another great one.
El Trafico. I don't even want to hear what the El Trafico fan cam would have sounded like. It just would have been. Dang, I really miss Steven Gerrard, but it's like both fans saying it. Where were we? Oh yeah, NYCFC. That was a bad loss at home. I'm still a little hesitant to buy in some stock because of that. And then the rivalry. The beautiful thing about this rivalry was that it completely kicked off at the end.
Yeah,
you have Farsi going down the tunnel. You have Valenzuela getting sent off for a red card. Like, sure, yes, hate each other. Awesome. I wish we got that same kind of energy from the stupid fan cams, but we did not. And here's the thing for Columbus.
Or maybe we did, but they edited it out.
In which case, you guys are stupid for editing that out. Like, come on. You've Portland fans chanting U.S. reject at Diego Luna this weekend.
Justifiably.
Justifiably. Like, RSL is not like our big rival though. Like we just did that. Like you're telling me that like Columbus and Cincinnati can't get like some vulgar shit and like that doesn't go viral? It don't. God, ridiculous. Bryce Mendez. I'm a Real Sociedad fan. I love Bryce Mendez. He's going to be
what? When have you? I love the Jeremy Lore drop. How long have you been a Sociedad fan?
Shout out San Sebastian.
It's a big summer for you. Griezmann's here too. Things are looking up.
Griezmann has. I don't count Griezmann Sociedad anymore. It's just been so long since he was there.
Zalba to Portland.
God, I love me some Mikkel Oyarzabal, bro. I do. I really do.
He's
but
good.
Odegaard is on his way too.
Damn. Yeah, I know. It's a talent factory. But here's the thing about Bryce Mendez. If he has to be as good as Diego Rossi for all of this to work. He really does. Especially if they're not going to go out and get another striker. Like he has to be that good and be that kind of a floor raiser and elevate everyone around him for this to work. I don't know if he can do that. And I like the guy. So going off of what Juanners was saying with the interesting roster build and stuff, yeah, it's really weird. It's kind of fascinating to watch Issa Tall just like finagle this team. But at the very least, they've gotten back to what they know best, which is the Nancy ball. Because of that, their floor has automatically been raised a little bit. But we're still waiting to see the game-to-game consistency that this group of players can bring. And Max Arfson's probably going to Middlesbrough too. So that's another thing they got to account for.
Josh, any Columbus thoughts?
I didn't have any thoughts until Jeremy mentioned Bryce having to be, I say Bryce like we're boys, Mendez like having to be as good as Diego Rossi, because how would you quantify that given how different of a player they are? I don't think that they're very similar in terms of like profile, in terms of what they're good at. I think Mendez is more of a creator than Rossi. Rossi can create, but I've always thought of him as more of a finisher than anything. So I'd be curious, like, is there a line that you're like, yeah, Mendez has been as good as Rossi, or no, he has not been as good as Rossi?
I think for me, because I had that same thought. I don't think it's necessarily because remember when Zelarayan left, Zelarayan was more of that natural 10, and then they got Rossi, and it was like, okay, this is not a like for like, but it's damn near like a little bit of a upgrade in terms of what you're going to get in the finishing side. Now it feels like we're going backwards towards like, okay, now you get a creator in Bryce Mendez. I think you need to find a Cucho now, someone that Bryce Mendez could feed, someone that he could play off of. I love what Jamal Tiare, his goal over the week, just a rising header in the middle of the box, very fun stuff. But I don't know if he actually no, I do like Jamal Tiare. I thought at Atlanta he always was productive. I thought he was way better, in his minutes ahead of Latte Lath. And so like I think you can get by with Tiare, but ultimately like Tiare is not like a Cucho level guy. You know what I mean? Tiare.
Well, the elephant in the room here is Wessam Abu Ali.
Yeah,
who was hurt.
That's fair.
So if they're willing to kind of lay a foundation and say like, okay, like let's just try and get into the playoffs this year. We'll see how well we do without Abu Ali. He comes back next year. All of a sudden, like they do have the Cucho type guy, but in terms of he just knows where the goal is, and now he's being fed by Bryce Mendez. I see the vision with it. So, yeah. The question is, what does that look like for the rest of the season? Do they need the striker reinforcement now? Maybe you go out, sign a DP striker on loan through like the winter. Say maybe that could carry us over the top. Use the roster amnesty, get that DP slot open for Abu Ali's injury. Sounds like something Columbus might do, but I don't know if they're going to do it.
I mean, they are in on Brenner, so they are trying to ruffle some Hella's real feathers more so than those fans are. But
yeah,
at the
they're trying
very
to get
least,
it for the next mic'd up.
yeah, hey, that guy used to play for us. Now we got to boot him.
But I like their kids. So
Yeah.
In any case, man, intriguing, more intrigued than impressed by Columbus, but they're going to be one of the teams to watch.
I'm curious, like Mendez, when he does finally play, do they switch out of this 5-back or this 3-back that they've been using and like put him more centrally, play him as like a center 10, or do they continue along with this system that they've been playing where they just try to slot in? It's like Gazdag and Mendez as like the both, the both 10s. I guess
it's
like Gazdag up top.
Ooh, I mean that's a little. I wouldn't mind that.
I guess, bro.
Regardless, I think it's Mendez and Habrun, though. I think Habrun has earned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't see them. I mean, Gazdag, scoring pens is good for his soul, but he's still. I still think it's Habrun.
I wonder if they'll play Mendez deeper, maybe. I don't know. Play him as like more of a center mid, as like an 8. Dude, imagine him and Andre Gomez, the unction midfield. Oh my God.
The Iberian unction midfield.
Game is 4-4.
I mean, does Mendez got a little bit of I don't think he's got any Nagby in him is the thing. Like, I don't know if he's going to be the guy to win the ball and do these like things. Maybe him and Shambo in the midfield would cook, but even then Shambo is also kind of the same boat of like, I haven't really seen him like do the Nagby things. So maybe they just need maybe they really just need Nagby. that's the tale.
So do 29 other clubs.
that not wrong there, fellas. We've come to the end of the podcast. Plug your socials, Jeremy. Where can they find you?
Elon app at Sports Guy Jeremy. Bluesky, JeremyPeterman.bsky.social. My work, CascadiaFC.com. I have a lot to write about this week because I have to preview Portland's next opponent. Those Seattle Sounders, who we didn't talk about today, but they've lost 5 straight games. And we're going to go from on that Thursday night, that beautiful Thursday night, only a week and a half ago, saying it should have been 6 for the 6 goals the Timbers should have scored against them. Now it's going to be 6 because they're about to lose their 6th game in a row.
Wow, nice. Maybe you score a touchdown in that one and get an extra point while you're at it. Joss, where can they find you?
Elon app at Josh Bathtub. Also Elon app at Off to See the Wizards. If you're looking for any Mo Salah related news, we're probably going to break it and it's probably going to be wrong. Also on Instagram at Off to See the Wizards. If you want to complain about why your team isn't spending $18 million on an underperforming Greek winger, I have to just say, much like Robert Pattinson said in the Odyssey, get these beggars out of here, bro. It's called having motion. Okay, some people got it. It's okay if your club don't.
Promises made, promises kept, Joss.
Promises made, promises kept. Indeed, it might take 10 years. It might take a whole Nolan movie to make about, but eventually, we'll get there.
Nolan needs to direct an MLS film of some kind, and then
if he's really about it, bro. If he's really about it,
like a Ted Lasso take on MLS through the eyes of Christopher Nolan, where you can't really hear what the coaches are saying because the audio is always so fucked in Nolan movies. But you can find me at Juanners715 on Twitter, at I'm Juanners everywhere else. Instagram and TikTok, and then follow the podcast on Twitter as well. Shill is still on the pod. We just he's officially running the account there at OTB MLS. But hopefully we get Shill in on one of these because I think he's been ducking the the takes coming his way. He missed the New England Revolution smack here. But also, like, Charlotte's doing well, so we got to pick his brain on how Charlotte continues. I'll save my Charlotte takes for next week, guys. Hopefully with Daniel here. But this has been Outside the Box. Jeremy?
Wait, I have one last closing point to make. We are recording this on Tuesday. Right now, the MLS All-Star Game Skills Challenge is allegedly going on. It's actually not going on. You turn on your TV right now, you go on to Apple, you click into it. They're showing the 2025 challenge because the broadcast has failed.
Are you serious?
Get rid of the fucking All-Star Game.
We need a Nolan movie about this.
Yeah, they got to get rid of the All-Star Game. This has to be the final straw. No one cares about this. Absolutely no one cares about this. If you do not have a player on your team in this in this event, they do not care about this. The players do care. They get more money. They get a chance to be marketable, but they can still get that bonus money by just being on the second and third best 11s, which this league still refuses to do. Get rid of the All-Star Game. It's already a shit show. They're holding the skills challenge at a goddamn baseball stadium, folks. What has happened? What has happened to this game that I love?
It's the end, bro. It's the end. It's we're at this is MLS 4.0. Welcome, guys. Hopefully the skills challenge lives on in everyone else's hearts, and hopefully OTB lives on inside your ears. Share us, review us, like, subscribe, leave a comment, help us out on the YouTube algorithm. Again, Outside the Box and MLS Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in at OTB MLS, and we will see you when we see you. Bye-bye.